It is episode 2. What's up, everybody? It is episode 2 of Deep Thoughts. I am your host, Dev Majesty, and I am here with King Gold. And we are going to delve right into it. Say what's up.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I am King Gold. That's how you guys know me as. But what's up? I'm glad to be here, Dev. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yes, we're super excited. I think a lot of people know you, but they don't really know you. So we're going to kind of delve into King Gold, his artistic side, some of the things he does, what he does for a living, where he's from, all that good stuff. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. All right. So, first, if you want to kind of tell the people where you're from originally and where you are now, and just a little bit about yourself, early on in your life and just your background, your culture, all that.
So I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I currently still live in Los Angeles. I've been trying to get out of LA for a while. It's getting hectic. It's getting pricey, super expensive, but I love it. I love it at the same time. A little bit about myself. I am half Mexican, half Nicaraguan. That's a little bit about my culture. I know a lot of people don't really share that, but to me, those are my roots, so I like to share that. I am 30 years old. And I've been exploring a lot of different things in my life as far as careers, as far as what to do. LA is like the city of dreams, but I like to do a lot. I touch on a lot of different things. I'm sure we'll touch on it, but I've had my hands in a lot of different things in careers, and I've experimented with a lot of things in my life, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm still experimenting. I still feel like my youth keeps pushing me and driving me to experiment new things.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yes. So that is really cool. LA is definitely, from what I've heard, very artistic city. Um, there's a lot of graffiti culture, just super artistic people, music. Um, if you kind of want to talk about how that has influenced you artistically, where you're at and where you're from.
I was raised, like I said, I was raised in LA. So a huge part of, the art that I kind of grew up around was a lot of graffiti and mural art. I think that's where I kind of gained interest at first. Growing up, I would see it a lot. I was always, the hangout spots where Santa Monica, the Venice Boardwalk, all that cool area where it was just
Jealous.
so it was amazing until this day. It continues to evolve, and the art doesn't get left behind. You would think it's a little outdated or whatever, but it's always keeping up with the trends. It's keeping up with society nowadays, and so that was always a key thing for me to kind of always like piggyback on, to see that they were always kind of keeping up with the trends, and they weren't just just getting left behind. I'm like, okay, well, it's time for new generation. It was always like, no, we're sticking around for the long haul. So that's where I kind of started like gaining interest in art. I'm not a huge artist, but I like to draw. I love to create different kinds of art. I like to try to see where I can push my boundaries to not just a piece of paper, what kind of art I can do. So there's been a lot of things that I've kind of done in my life where it's required a lot of artwork, but it gets translated in different ways. I can draw, I can sketch, I can create art, but I'm more of like, I'm gonna create a logo. I'm gonna create those kind of art pieces. Like, I can't draw a human being to save my life. So that's kind of like, everybody has like their thing, their little niche. But to me, human life form, a lot of still life is still a little bit tough for me. It's more about like, how can I explore um, an art piece and make it something weird, and how can I define my style that way. So that's kind of where I took my style from. That was the roots of it, and so then I kind of just created it my own. And then I was like, well, LA and this whole lifestyle is very quick. It's always moving, it's always changing. So I felt like my art style always had to change too. So I feel like that's where it had a lot of influence for me. I was always okay, I'm gonna do one type of art. Okay, I gotta change it up now. So I'm always changing. I'm always evolving. I hate sticking to the normal. I always want to feel like I'm a trendsetter, even though I'm not. But I like to feel that way, and I'm always, trying to see, okay, what do I do next that hasn't been touched? That's what my brain is always thinking. So that's where the entrepreneurial side of me comes out. I'm always trying to see where else I can push my boundaries. So yeah.
How do you feel like the fashion scene over in LA has influenced you? I know that is definitely an aspect of a lot of people's creativity and just a way for them just to express themselves. How do you feel like, because over there, like you're saying, like it's so fast paced. It's kind of like when you're living in New York City. I mean, they're two completely different, but just the vibe of living in a major city, and styles are changing, and culture's changing, and things are constantly changing. How do you feel like that has influenced not just your art style, but also yourself, just in your self expression?
Yeah, it's been a huge impact for me. I'm always, I like to consider myself a hype beast with all the different styles and trends and
Hmm.
fashion that's going on, and I push my family to do so too because they're all about, like I mean, LA is all about, like you dress to impress, right? So I think that was a huge part in my direction and what I take as far as art too, because um, I like to create art in clothing also. Like I was even talking to my family about this the other day. I was like, I really think like I want to be able to not work for anybody else. I want to be my own boss. I want to be able to do my own thing. I hate working for other people. So I told myself, I told my family, I was like, I think fashion is where my niche is, where I can find it, where I'll find my future, where I'll find something that I can enjoy and just create on. So LA has really been a huge motivation for that because I see the different styles and the fashion, and the fashion industry here is huge. If you go to downtown LA, it's 75% of just fashion, and you just go and you're looking for different things that create that fashion look. And so for me, I want to be able to create that, and there's some things coming in the future, but it's too soon to talk yet. But I got
Ooh.
that I'm really pushing through because I'm always like always got my gears turning. I never want to settle for what I got. So, but fashion really has a huge place in my heart. I'm always looking to see what are people rocking nowadays that I can always push up a little bit and then undercut the big guys so that I can be for the people because I don't think a lot of businesses do it that way. A lot of people are not about community. They're not about the people. They're not about like let me give you something that's affordable of just so you can be part of the fashion trend here in LA.
Right.
And a lot of big guns that I mean for the most part 90% of all businesses are just money, right? So if you're
Hmm.
not a huge box retailer, it's you're nobody. So
You're screwed.
yeah, a wave, because out here is hard. Like it's hard. Like if you're not a big box retailer that's caring about money, like you have to do something else, or else you're just gonna be overshadowed by the Targets of the world, the Paxtons of the world, and like all these different names that come to mind that you think like I'll never be that, but you got to create your own lane, and so that's what I strive to do with my art wherever I go. So yeah.
I love that. Don't let him fool you guys. He's better at art than he puts on. He is very, very talented. He made my Dev Majesty logo. He's made the logo for Deep Thought DJ. Just a very creative mind. Like he's saying, whatever he sees and envisions, he wants to elevate it. So to me, that's perfectly described as someone who's a visionary. Um, Absolutely, just I can't wait to see all the things that you create now in the future. I know whatever it is, it's going to be amazing.
And I've
um
even had it, since a young age. It's always been that, and so it's crazy to me because you would think. I mean, I graduated high school 12 years ago, so but
Dang.
then, like when I was in high school or the year right after, I had created a clothing line, and I just took it and ran with it. And I had a few buddies in school. I had somebody that was creating the designs online for me because I was more of like, let me sketch, let me figure out how do I create new designs that are trendy, And then I had, a guy that he would now design it online. He would get my sketch and he would just trace over it on the online programs and design programs, and he would just like toss it out there, and then we'd have to look for suppliers. I was driving 45 minutes just to go get samples. Like
Dang.
I was grinding. And I had the ball rolling. I had made a professional photo shoot and everything, and then all of a sudden, it was five of us, and all four of them decided to go away for school. And you can't blame them, obviously. For it's respectable, and so that's where it kind of started falling apart because I wasn't all the working pieces. If I was, I would have taken it, with other guys and continued doing it. But because it was just, I was just one of the factors of that company, I couldn't run the others. So it kind
Right.
of fell apart on me. And we had done all the paperwork. We had uh, brought out a name. We had
Jeez.
done it. We had a bank account for it. We like everything, and
Oh
it
my
just kind of
gosh.
it just kind of fell up. Like it got taken from my hands. So that was my very first attempt, and ever since then, I'm like, one day I'm gonna gain that back, and I'm just gonna take it and make it mine because now I have what it takes to do it, and surprisingly, a lot of styles nowadays they don't require a lot. Like I always mention to you, it's all about like minimalism nowadays. It's all
Mm-hmm.
like line work and all this stuff. So it goes back. It's weird. It almost became a full circle. Like it goes back to the fundamentals, where it's not just about you have to create this huge mural, intricate in design and very detailed and crazy. Like it's all about just minimalism now, and people love it. Like as long as you can play with colors the right way, it can be done. So that's what I want to take that different approach now with that new outlook and see where that takes me now.
I love that. Yeah, we talk about minimalism a lot. I always, when I'm talking to other people on my team, I always refer to King Gold as the king of aesthetics because I'm like, he has such a good eye for colors, the way things are put together, just everything in general. If it has to do with aesthetics, he's your guy. He's gonna make sure it's tastefully done. And that kind of leads into you being in the NFT space. How Tell us how that has happened and tell us how you're enjoying it, um, having that creative mindset. And the NFT space is about art and people's expressive, not expressive, that just the way they express themselves. Yeah, art, the way they express themselves on a canvas, whether it be one-on-one artists or different projects. Um, they're collectibles. And looking behind you, you definitely know about collectibles. So yeah, how's that journey? But tell us about that journey.
Oh man, it's been a roller coaster. So NFT space, I got pitched to it by a good buddy of ours and by Jay. And when when that got when that first got pitched to me, I I got it pitched to me in a marketing standpoint. So that was kind of new for me because I wasn't. I mean, I had he brought me in with the idea that I've had a couple businesses and I've had I have built a couple brands here and there. So that was my mindset going in, like what am I going to build, or what do you need me to start up? And so like kind of like from the floor up. And so when I got into this project, this NFT project that we got going on, it was already built, and so I was kind of like late to the party. But I wasn't any less important, I understand that, but I was late to the party and it was already there for me. And when I came in with the marketing, that's when I was kind of like, okay, like, well, I got to dip my hands in this and try it out because I'm always looking to see what the next wave is. And NFT space is definitely that. It's still very new, so I was excited. With the artwork, when I was asked to create a logo, I just ran with that same thing. If you can tell, it's just a black and white logo. It's very basic, but it's a very minimalist look, and but it's also very modern. It has a modern touch to it. So that's where I kind of like I got excited for that when I was able to do my logo, the logo that way. But man, it's been a great journey. I love having to deal with all the art pieces and having to have a hand in looking at all the little things. I have a lot of OCD, so if it's not perfect, like I'm always gonna have like something to say, or I'm always gonna have my little criticism for it. It's constructive criticism, but I'm sure I got annoying over time with all the little details that I was like looking to fix and all this stuff. So in that sense, I was excited because anything that has to do with art, I'm game. And so my journey has been a good one. It's been a roller coaster because it is tough, like when we have to market it like crazy. It can get crazy and it can get tough and it can get hard. And it can feel repetitive if you don't have the right mindset to it. It can be a game changer for you. And so the other aspect of it was the mental health aspect, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I have a huge background as far as dealing with different issues that have to do with mental health. And so for me, that was a huge factor. That's what sold me like 100%. But like I was there for the art, but I stayed for the mental health because when that got pitched to me too, I realized how important that is now more than ever. And so for me to be able to have a hand in making a change or making a difference, or at least having my voice heard, I'm always going to be game for that. So that was kind of what pushed me to kind of be part of the project, and it's been going amazing. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's definitely been exciting in terms of that mental health aspect. Um, I just think it kind of reminds me of when you talk about your job too. It requires, I feel like being an advocate for mental health just requires a very selfless person, being able to absorb things that people are going through. Um, how do you feel like your IRL job has helped you, uh, I guess, be better equipped to take on roles like being a mental health advocate on the project?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Um, as soon as I started, even when before I got out of high school, I started working summer camps for kids, and so that's where I started kind of feeling or seeing more than anything the need for education and correct education. The system is broken in so many ways, and so that kind of pushed me to want to make a change. And if I can change a little person's life or have a hand in changing their life, I'm always going to be down for that. And so I started doing that, and I did that for about 10 years, just working summer camps. Every summer, I was just running summer camps. I started off as an assistant counselor, and I ended up all the way as an assistant director. So I was always moving and trying to find ways to how can I better this program for the kids. These kids are our future, and that's how I always like to look at it. They're our future, so why not make it a good one for us? And so that kind of pushed me into getting into education. When I started doing that, I started seeing, well, there's a bigger need in the special education field, and so now I'm a teacher in special education field,
Mhm.
and so um, obviously, that's a no-brainer for me. When I got asked for that, given that opportunity, I was going to take it because um, a lot of these kids are suffering through a lot of things. They come from families and backgrounds that are not the most pleasant. I'm in like the projects of like LA when it comes to education and when it comes to where I'm located at. So for work, so there's a lot of things that go wrong, and there are a lot of ways that
Right.
the system is broken. A lot of things that kids go through that go kind of goes unseen, and you don't notice it until it's too late and they've fallen through the cracks of the school system. And so by then it's too late and we've lost them to the outside world. And so it's sad. And we see a lot of kids that is very generational. So we see children that might have that might be mildly autistic, and so they're not aside from that, they're being neglected at home, or there might be situations where maybe it's not the greatest for them. Um, and we just have to try to do our best to kind of just mend those wounds. And so we try to do our best, and we've seen a lot how it's um, we try to make a change in our location where we've seen that what, it's all about people's social and emotional needs before their educational needs. So when you start fixing or helping fix the social emotional aspect of their life, their education, it's something wonderful. You start seeing them flourish and you start seeing blossoming in the educational field, but because we worried about their social emotional well-being first. And so that's where I've kind of like I grasped onto that, and I was like, I'm just gonna run with this. And so that's where I started becoming more of like, I want to advocate for mental health. Um, Along the lines, along the road, down the road of that, I started seeing um, a lot of it within my family. I have a nephew who's autistic. I have close family members that do suffer from mental health issues, and so a lot of those, it hits close to home because I want to see better for my family. And so for me to do that, I got to be able to do that for everybody because these people have their own family. These children have their own families where I'm sure they want the best for them. So, it's a lot of things that, a lot of factors that play a huge role in where I stand as far as mental health awareness. And so if we can spread that as much as possible, I'm always going to be an advocate for it because I know how important it is. If you don't have mental health, you don't have health. And so that's where I've seen the huge impact that each one of us can have, even if we're not suffering from our own mental health issues. We can help others that are, and we can continue having that health by doing things that will help it. So it's always about being proactive, and so that's why I always don't. I hate standing on the sidelines and waiting for something to happen to then just be, just say, I told you so. I'd rather be, the reason why, we're having to be like, well, you see, we did it before that happened. So, it's a lot of being proactive, but, it helps me kind of keep my sanity too, because in the space,
Right.
working with kids can be hectic and can be crazy, and it's not for everybody, especially in the special education field. It's a little tougher, but they're not any different than anybody else. So that's where kind of I've keeping that mentality so that I can keep pushing forward and keep trying to make a change any way I can.
That's awesome. Very well said. Um, Kind of just piggybacking off of, talking about the new generation youths, how important do you feel it is for them to be aware of this space that we're also in? I know that's a little bit of a change of pace, but I feel like that's something I feel like needs to be talked about at some point, because we in essence are helping build their future. And I believe, and I think a lot of people believe, that cryptocurrency and NFTs and metaverse is going to be a very um, active part of this new generation's future. How important do you feel it is to start educating them now while they're very young, um, so that they can, also contribute and help build? And, who knows? Like, this new generation is so insanely smart, and you probably see that firsthand because you work with them. But yeah, how important do you feel like it is to, help them be educated and make smart financial decisions? And yeah, just kind of like in that general sense.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I don't think the NFT space, the crypto space, gets as much as recognition as it deserves.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of people think it. I mean, even though they're partially right when people say that it's still very experimental,
Right.
but at the same time, it's becoming our future more and more every single day. And the same way that as far as much as I want to feel like I was early in the NFT space and I was early in relatively early in the crypto space, as big as wallets as other people do when it comes to the crypto space. But even though I feel this way, at the same time, I also feel late. I was like, why didn't I get taught this when I first heard of it? Or why didn't I grab onto this when I first heard of it? And it was, I think the main reason is because there wasn't enough resources out there for me to grab onto, for me to be able to learn about it and
Right.
get into it while I could. And so if I had done that, if I had the right direction, if I had the right resources at the right time, maybe a year sooner than what I did, I probably would have had a nice income growing already, before thinking that it might be too late now. So as much as like every day I'm always thinking, because the crypto space and NFT space moves so quick, tomorrow I'm gonna feel like I'm already too late. So I can already
It's so
imagine.
true.
Yeah, I can already imagine if there's all these kids that are like still in school and they're not being educated by it. By the time they get to I work at an elementary school, so by the time they get to high school, I can already imagine them thinking, like, why wasn't I taught this? Not that we're gonna, not that a lot of kids can understand the full concept in elementary school about cryptocurrency and the NFT
Right.
space and understand that. But what I'm saying is, that generational knowledge is what is very necessary. So if we can teach it, maybe if you're at a high school age and you have the resources available to learn it, like why not do that? Because it's more important than ever, because these kids are learning as they're growing, and it's going to generate interest to the point where it's going to be a huge factor when it comes to them deciding where they're going to go to college or what they're going to study. And so it all starts with the education they're receiving right now that they're in school before they go in and try to study a career in college. And by then it's too late because
Yeah.
that sucks, and you're getting yourself into something that, you know, by the time you want to redirect yourself to that, it could also be too late. And so that's why I think it's very important now to start doing that, because there's no time like the present, and this space moves quicker than in real life. And so I think it's going to be super important. We've seen a lot of projects ourselves that we've seen that how they try to do even like little shows and cartoons to
Oh, Amoeba Friends. Yeah, they've been trying to
um,
put out shows like that too to help just educate, bring younger kids into the equation, just so they're educated on the matter. You know, they don't have to be into it because, you know, they may not, they're not old enough, you know, to do trading with real money, but you know, at least if they have the knowledge. I've seen some parents who are heavy into cryptocurrency and NFTs, and they will literally get on Magic Eden or OpenSea with their kids and show their kids, you know, a lot of the art. A lot of the art is cool to look at. The kids want to see the art too, you know, and it's exciting for them. And you know, just teaching them about the value of these pieces and just being in this space. I agree with you 100%. I think it's super essential. I think it's very important that um you at least give your kids a little bit of knowledge in regards to the space.
yeah.
That way, you know, as they grow and get older, they are able to better manage their money. I know in school, at least the school I went to, they didn't really even, you know, back when I was in high school, it was about the stock market, and they didn't really talk about it. You know, they didn't teach you, you know, about, they just said, oh, this is the stock market. Like it was like, oh, a thing that rich people do. You know, it wasn't like you know, something that I would have ever imagined myself doing any kind of trading, much less, you know, cryptocurrency nowadays. But yeah, I agree 100%. I think it's super important.
Sides. If you've noticed, in the real world, there's those people that are very like enthusiastic about the NFT and crypto space. And
Hmm.
it's like there's no middle ground. It's either you love it or you hate it, because you run into those people that are like, "Oh, you're gonna talk to me. You're gonna try to pitch to me about some NFT or some crypto thing that I have no interest in."
Yep.
There's those people that are like, "Oh, what are you investing in? What you know, what tokens you got, or what NFTs are you looking at, or what project are you involved with?" There's never like that kind of, you know, it's hard to run into those people that are like, "Oh, I want to learn more," or, "Oh, what is this? Tell me about it." You know, it's always like,
Hmm.
and social media has a huge part to do with that too. If you're not in crypto talk, or if you're not in NFT talk, you know, it's hard to kind of gain that interest from new people, because they think, oh, this is just another you know, another scam or another scheme that people are just running to try to get, you know, people away from something else. And so that's why it becomes 10 times tougher, but that's why we have to work 10 times harder to kind of you know, be more educational when it comes to that, because unfortunately that's the way that a lot of people see it nowadays. And but it's becoming the future more and more. It's growing, and soon we're going to be in a cyber world where we don't even have to leave our homes to go to work, to go to events, to hang out. It's all just,
It's true.
yeah, it is.
The
It's,
metaverse, you know, all the different capability, and every day a lot of these companies, like we've talked to the lofts a lot, and they're over there making I think it's called the Agora, and it's massive, and it's so detailed, and it's so realistic looking. And I know we've talked about, like, you've talked about it, Jay's talked about it, just getting an Oculus and building out the metaverse utility that we have for Deep Thought DJ. And you know, I just think, I'm like, what a world, what a time to be alive. Like we're literally chilling in a virtual reality, which, like, years ago you're like, virtual reality, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's like some futuristic stuff, you know, like I would never think that that would ever be a reality, a remote reality, or flying cars, you know, you think about that. But it's our now. It is our now. Our now. um yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm excited. I love seeing a lot of these art galleries. And guys, I've been pushing King Gold. I told him he should have an exchange art, because he does do really cool stuff, and I think it would be really cool for him. And I think maybe finding a way to integrate it with um, his passion in regards to the fashion industry, and maybe making, virtual lookbooks. I think that would be something that would be really cool. Or, I don't know. I think a virtual lookbook would be pretty sick. Not for nothing. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that. But like something in VR and in metaverse, or having a gallery and then having it tied to a brand. I think that's something that would be really cool. Um, but I'm super excited to just continue to see what you put out. Like I said, you're definitely a visionary, a forward thinker, somebody that's not like, oh, that's a crazy idea. It's You're like, no, oh, it's a crazy idea. I like it. Like I love that. So yeah, I think that's amazing. And yeah, I wanted to say what do you find is a major motivation for you anytime you're creating, not necessarily, an art piece, but it could be anything, an outfit, or um just any kind of anything creative. What do you feel like, depending on what it is a major source of motivation? Do you feel like it's a way for you to express yourself? Do you feel like it's a way to help you cope with things, or a little bit of both? Kind of getting a feel for that, your
Yeah,
motivation.
yeah, great question because where do I even begin? But
I know it's a loaded question.
yeah, no, for me it's a bit tricky because I want to be able to have a backstory to a lot of things that I do, and I think um, a lot of people do, and a lot of people. But to me, like not 100%, like I'm not about the sob stories behind
Hmm.
behind a project or behind things that I do. Not the sob stories are like cheesy or that they're unreal or whatever. Everybody has their story and their their roots, and I respect everything. But I just don't like to use that as like a crutch for me when it comes to my artwork and the way that I do things, because I don't know, that's just me. I'm just weird, and I don't want to put too much. I take a lot of things lightly, and I don't take myself too seriously, and I'm sure you've noticed it, and a lot of people around me do, and they might just think since I was in school I was a class clown, and it was just I was a pretty smart kid, but because I was a smart kid I would get my work done early, and I would just mess around and just be a clown. And because I never took myself too seriously, I was never that kid that was kind of like, okay, stop, we gotta focus now. Like I was just always just rolling with the punches and kind of like kind of just creating what I create, and I'm just gonna do things my way. And if people don't like it, they don't have to like me. And so it
Right.
started becoming when I started growing up, that kind of attitude kind of made me come off as like a jerk and very sarcastic, and so that kind of started becoming my personality, not in a bad way where I was kind of like I love being a jerk and I love being sarcastic, but it was just I didn't do it like on purpose, and I wasn't like that kind of jerk that I was just gonna tell you off. I was the kind of jerk where I was just giving you sarcasm, giving you a hard time, but you love me. I was just real with you. So a lot of the things that I do nowadays has been very like I don't want to I don't want to have it doesn't affect my background doesn't affect me. A lot of things that I've gone through in my past, I don't let that kind of just
Dictate your future or
yeah,
your present.
yeah, so because I feel, for the most part, I had a wonderful life. I had a wonderful upbringing. My dad left when I was like 3 years old. He wasn't in the picture a lot. He would
Hmm.
come here and there. But even then, like my mom played the role of mom and dad perfectly. That I could easily say that I was better off without a dad, because I don't know how I would have been if he was in my life. It could have been worse.
Right.
Who knows? So I have no complaints as far as my upbringing. I have no complaints as oh, why my dad left, and I felt like there was a void in my life. I never felt any of that. Like I was just always just rolling with the punches. I was like, this is what I'm given, this is what I'm going to work with. And
Right.
even till this day, there's like I said, I have close family that do have the things that they have to go through mentally and physically as well. Physical illnesses and all that. But I do that separately. That's my personal life. When it comes to that, I deal with those things as they come. But then when it comes to my creative side or my fashion side or my hype side or any of that, when I'm creating and all that, I just kind of just go with it. I'm always that kind of person that I'm always looking for the new thing. I'm always looking for that new niche that nobody has tapped into yet. And
Right.
so when it comes to my motivation, it's always like I'm seeing this brand, I'm paying $120 for a jacket that has one word on the front. How can I do it for 110, right? And create that same brand or create that same look, but just undercut these big dudes that shouldn't be getting $120 from me because not everybody can afford it. And how can I do it for my people? And so that becomes a driving force for me when I can see that if I can make a change for the lower level people, for the middle class, and it's not just a brand that, man, I gotta be working full time and have nice cars and a nice house so that I can wear this brand. Like
Right.
it's not always about that. Like I don't consider myself as a wealthy person, and I don't consider myself as a person that has the nicest cars or the nicest house and all that. But there can still be ways to kind of work around to do what I do. Like I might look like I'm showing off like my shoe and all, which I do, sometimes. But
You're proud. It requires it's work to get up and set a timer and
but
be
even
there for
but yeah, exactly. But what I'm getting at is that because of it, like this shoe collection came from hard work. It didn't come from, and I don't mean hard work in the sense that I had to work to earn my money to buy these shoes. I mean in the sense that I was hustling so that I didn't have to pay for these shoes. And what that means is that I was always looking for ways that the average buyer didn't look for when it comes to purchasing shoes. So I was always looking, okay, this shoe is very limited. I'm gonna buy me two, wait for it to sell out, and then I'm gonna sell one of them for double the price, and I just got myself a free pair of shoes. So it was always
Mhm.
like my mind was always moving in ways that I was kind of like, what can I do so that I don't have to conform to this lifestyle of needing a lot of money, needing to be rich to have a pair of shoes. And so
Right.
that's kind of like the reseller, persona came out of me. And so that's where I started doing all of that and becoming a hype beast because I was like, I can have this stuff without needing to own a house or have nice cars or have a YouTube channel and be known and be famous on this and be famous on that. Like I can do it because I like it. And it shouldn't, and that's the what I try to advertise to a lot of people. You can do what you want if you set your mind to. You can have what you want if you really tried, right? And
Yeah.
so one of the stories that I always like keep in the back of my mind when it comes to that, the entrepreneur mindset was there was this one guy online that he started off with like a paper clip or something like that, and he started trading up, and he ended up like buying like a Ferrari or something based on starting off with a paper clip. He didn't spend a dime. It was just a paper clip. I'm gonna trade up until I can buy myself a Ferrari or something like that. So and he did it, and it was just kind of like I'm gonna
Oh
trade this
my
for
gosh.
I'm gonna trade this paperclip. I'm gonna trade it for a pencil. Then I'm gonna trade this pencil for a pen, and I'm gonna trade this pen for a notebook, and then I'm gonna trade it. He went all the way up to be able to, just work that way up. So that's always been my mindset. I don't have a lot, but I'm gonna work with what I got to be able to make the most of it. And so that kind of has been my driving force when it comes to my art as well. I want to be able to do things, creatively, so that they can generate some income, whether it's passive income or not, and work my way up from there because it doesn't take a lot to be able to get yourself up and going. As much as a lot of society tells us it takes money to make money, but it also takes more determination and motivation as well. So that has been that what pushes me every day and what helps me get out of bed every morning too.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is like very inspirational, very inspirational. Um, I kind of wanted to get some feedback. So before we kind of wrap up, first of all, I think a lot of people are going to appreciate that having that entrepreneurial mindset, especially within this space. I think it's really important to uh, have that mindset that, you don't have to be rich necessarily to flip something or to invest in a really good company or project. There's so many different scenarios and equations where that advice that you just gave can be applied. So I can't wait for people to hear that, because I think that that's something I think a lot of people need to hear, especially now when the market's fluctuating so hard. I think a lot of people will get discouraged. And I think anytime you're in an entrepreneurial journey of any sort, you're going to have times where you feel really like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. Oh my gosh, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm literally losing money. And I think we all go through that. I think that's something normal. And I think that needs to be talked about more, because I think people think that if it's not going perfectly or even ideally at all times, that we just give up. And, having that integrity that you're talking about when it comes to being an entrepreneur or just a forward thinker, a visionary, um, I think that's really important. I think it's something that it needs to be in the conversation more. So thank you for that. I also wanted to touch on your experience, because I like to ask, and it's going to be a common question I ask pretty much everybody I have on here, um, how your experience has been, kind of switching gears to your experience within Solana, and how, like, what is the vibe like to you? Like, because you are a very I chase the good vibes kind of person. And so I want to kind of get your feedback in terms of, I know you didn't start out in ETH or any other platform, and I love all platforms, but um yeah, just the vibe. Like, how do you like the vibe in Solana, and just meeting people and networking. We've done tons of networking over the past couple of months. So just kind of how your experience has been with that, and meeting other, like-minded people that have that same entrepreneurial mindset, and if that, inspires you in any way.
Yeah, the Solana space is a roller coaster. It can be it can be tough, but it's also one of the places where you're going to learn the most. I feel Solana is still very young, and I think that there's a lot of things that are still needing to be explored. But again, I think Solana is a lot more about community than I think a lot of these other platforms are. As much as it's young, and it's very educational too. There's a lot of people that you can relate to, so you can be on the same boat with a lot of people when it comes to building and developing and becoming your own, and kind of creating something that can be different than everybody else. So when I came into Solana, it was great, and it had its moments, right, where it became this wave of where I was only I don't know if it was just me, but I was seeing a lot of like fudders, and I was seeing a lot of people that were just kind of trying to bring the space down. And we can talk a lot, all day about how Solana can be very immature at times because we're
Oh
like
yeah.
little brother about the little brother of ETH and all these different platforms. At the same time, Solana is very educational. You start seeing how a lot of communities, if you're in the right space, like a lot of communities like stick together and they want to build and they want to be able to create their own persona and they want to be able to just support others. And we've been in a lot of spaces together, and I'm sure you've been in tons of spaces where it's just different communities and we're just vibing. And so that's the environment that I like to be in, where we're just all kind of just seeing, okay, I want to ask a question, but I don't want to sound stupid doing it. And so when you're in a space where you can feel comfortable asking those questions, you've already won, right? Because you don't want to feel like you're being judged. You don't want to feel like you're a newbie or where you don't know what you're talking about. You want to be in that safe haven. And I feel Solana can be that if you're connected to the right people. Um, and nowadays I've been seeing a lot of like a lot of people giving praise to a lot of one-on-one artists,
Yeah.
and that to me is huge because you don't see that a lot. You just see the project or whatever. You see this, you see the images. You're like, should I buy it? Should I not? How's the market? But now it's like, well, let's support this one-on-one artist because he is the future too. He needs to have his work recognized. He needs to be able, to do what the most that he can while he can do it because the space moves so fast. And so for me to see all these different communities just come together and do that. That's why it's kept me around, honestly, because the people that I build relationships with. This space is very hectic, but to see those relationships still continue to flourish and even defend each other when it comes to how
Right.
the space can be, that to me was huge because we don't know 99% of the people we talk to in Solana, but somehow we have this chemistry, we have this relationship where we're always having each other's backs, and we can always hit them up on on DMs and all, and continue to still have that that cool friendship, and also um, those vibes have helped me a lot. They don't make me want to explore anything else for now. Like I'm comfortable in the space that we're at now. I know
Right.
it's growing. I know we're still exploring a lot of different aspects of it. But to me, it's been a great experience. Like I said, there is those tough moments because it's so flooded with projects. There's so many projects out
Oh
there,
my gosh, yeah.
So but it also makes us work harder to kind of push our name out there because we want to be part of that ecosystem and continue building it. So that's been my little touch on it. I don't have a lot more to say to that, but just that when I'm in that right space, you can almost see that it kind of just pushes you and it creates kind of this snowball effect where you just kind of you start making those connections here and here and here and here, and
Yeah.
you end up somewhere where you didn't even think you could, but
Yeah.
because of the relationships that you built, they took you there. It's not just because you paid for promotions or you paid for marketing or you did this or you must have known somebody. No, like we got to know them, but because we worked hard and we hustled. And so
Right.
that's kind of that experience that I like, because that's more of my that's
Your,
more of my
your
chat.
take on it.
Yeah,
And right.
yeah,
I think
that's where I like to stand on it. So yeah, I appreciate everything Solana and the people that form it do for me.
I love that. Yeah, no, Solana is definitely when I think of it or like this, even though there's so many projects, I still feel like we're pretty tight knit, we you get to know, common faces, common names. Well, not always faces because not everybody's docs, but common names, common PFPs, and you just get to know people, and it becomes this networking, and you start to get close to people. You start to really have a really awesome chemistry within the ecosystem, and I think that's going to be really important in terms of building out Solana's future and in regards to this aspect of the ecosystem of Solana's ecosystem within the NFT space. So yeah, I'm really really looking forward to seeing how it continues to grow and how we continue to grow. And yeah, I'm super excited about it. And I'm glad you've had a good experience because guys, this is like King Gold's first experience within the NFT space was with Solana. So hearing that from somebody's first experience, just their first NFT experience, is amazing. That it's been overall a very good and positive experience. There's going to be bad stuff anywhere you go, but for it to overall be a pretty positive experience and keeping a positive narrative, I think that's really, really important. And I'm just excited to just be part of the journey. Um, so before we kind of wrap up, first of all, this has been amazing. You were super, super inspirational. You literally, I felt like I was in a motivational speaker. I felt inspired. Some people you just meet. I think that's that again, that visionary aspect to you that you can literally talk to anybody. You just feel, whoever you're talking to feels a little inspired. So I think that's really, really cool. Um, I just wanted to give you the floor for the last couple minutes. If there's anything you want to say to our community at Deep Thought DJ, anybody that you've gotten to know and network with, any artists, aspiring entrepreneurs, just a piece of advice um, that could really help them if they're kind of feeling down um, on anything, on their pursuits, their efforts, something that you feel like has encouraged you hearing that you can kind of give to them.
Oh man, so I just want to first thank our community for making all this possible, for giving us the platform that we've had to be able to advocate for mental health through music, and everybody's a fan of that, and our community has stuck around since day one. They've been very supportive. It's been a slow process, but it's been a good one, and so shout out to you guys, because without you guys, none of this would be possible. We wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for you guys. Our community has shown that determination to make this succeed. And I see that from the mental health aspect. I'm always popping into that chat and I'm always seeing how inspired other people are. And so I feel like to be inspirational, you must be inspired by other people too, because we feed off of each other's energy.
Love
And
that.
so I felt that since day one. And and that's why that project has is so close to my heart, because I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't be in any other project more than I would be with this one, because we can all resonate to it to some extent. But at the same time, I appreciate everything and all the feedback that everybody gives us, whether it's good or bad. I can appreciate that a lot. I appreciate different projects that have stuck with us, through the test of time, and they're still around. There's some guys that have, I think you mentioned on your first episode, how they've even gotten our DJs tatted on them. And so to me, that's
Mm-hmm.
my mind. And so that kind of shows how, that's kind of a clear definition of what our community is, and how, close knit we are with everybody. And so if I could just give one piece of advice, is always just find ways to be kinder to other people. You can never be too kind. There's a lot of people that are struggling, and sometimes we don't see it because 99% of the struggles that we go through are behind closed doors. But if we can just be kind to each other, we can continue to help, our environment around us get better. Um, Through my experience, it's always when people don't speak up that uh, that things can go wrong. And so, if we can do things to speak up and always just be mindful of others, we can create a change in the environment, within the Solana ecosystem, in our personal lives, in the communities that surround us. So that's all I want to mention. I want to keep it nice and simple. Is be kinder. We can always do things to better ourselves. That way we can help better others. But if we don't help ourselves too, we won't be able to help others. So be kind to yourself more than anything. Be patient with yourself. And I appreciate everybody that's been with us since day one. And that's what kind of helps us push forward this awareness that we're trying to bring to mental health. So any little bit counts, even just kind of, just checking us out, just so you can see what we're about. That's going to be a huge step for us, and that's going to mean a lot more to us than you needing to spend your money. But check us out, and I appreciate Deb for having me. You're a huge mental health advocate as well. You always do a lot for the ecosystem. You're a big part of who we are. So I appreciate you more than anything. I know this is your podcast, but I'm gonna take this time. I'm gonna take over, and I'm gonna tell you we appreciate you for everything you do. And
Thank you.
it's a huge honor for me to be on here and be able to speak my truth and have this platform to be able to bring awareness to all that. So I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, you're awesome. Yes, 100%. I just also want to plug King Gold. He has an amazing rug business, and I'm not talking about a rug, okay? I'm talking about a legit physical rug business where he makes these amazing custom rugs. He's done a lot of hype beast pieces, Kobe, Supreme. I just had to plug you because his work is freaking amazing. He's made NFT rugs, and it sounds so funny saying rugs. Like I'm
How
trying not to laugh, but
ironic that I'm in like the NFT space and I have a business about rugs. It's
I
crazy.
know, it's ironic, but amazing work. I am going to plug his business down below so that you guys, if you guys seriously want to get your NFTs made into a rug, a good one, not a bad one where you lose money, please go check him out. King Gold, thank you so much. It has been a freaking pleasure. You are so cool. I am so excited to see what you put out. I'm just excited, and I've said it like 20 times, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But thank you for coming on, and I just want to say thank you guys for watching. This is our second episode. I received amazing feedback from the first episode. You guys are seriously amazing. I just wanted to say thank you for the support. We have plenty more content coming, and go show some love on King Gold's profile, at King Gold. I don't think there's an underscore, right? I'm gonna link all his socials. All his socials are gonna be in the description below.
I'm gonna test, I'm gonna test your editing skills. All right, you're gonna catch me on Twitter right here,
Oh God.
right here, and what else we got? You'll catch us on TikTok over
Like,
here. We'll see how good those editing skills are.
oh God, the pressure. Yes, thank you guys for watching Deep Thoughts. This is the end of episode 2. We will see you guys on the next one, and we love you guys so much. Thank you, King Gold, again.
Thank you for having me. Peace. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.